Okay, good afternoon. It's Wednesday, September the 8th. Time is about 12:41. We're here at Liverpool Street Station in the City of London. I'm just going to take a walk, do a live broadcast, just take a walk from Liverpool Street towards the West End as I play with my new toy. I'll explain as I go along. Okay, we've come out of Liverpool Street Station, opposite Old Broad Street. Just point it towards here. I've just actually filmed a Route 344 from Liverpool Street Station to Clapham Junction. And the 133 goes from here as well towards Streatham Station. I've just done the 344. Hopefully that will come out next weekend if the quality is good enough. So this is Liverpool Street itself, the street of Liverpool Street in EC2. And what we're approaching is what will be the entrance to Liverpool Street Crossrail Station. Just have a look at it. This will be the entrance to Liverpool Street Crossrail Station, which is scheduled to open in the year 2525, if man is still alive. Okay. Crossrail Station is by the Broadgate development, which some of you will remember. I started working here in 1977 at Broad Street Station was here, Broad Street Railway Station, which was the end of the North London Loop at that time. Now it's the Broadgate development. It's been there for a long time. We're here in Bloomfield Street, EC2. Almost got run over by Route 153. Bloomfield Street is one way towards London Wall. I started working here in 1977 and Bloomfield Street was one way in the other direction. So it's changed polarization sometime since then. Started working in this building here in November 1977 on the corner of Bloomfield Street and Finsbury Circus. It was a merchant bank then, Anthony Gibbs and Sons. Building's still the same on the outside, but on the inside it's changed completely. Started work here in 1977 as a reconciliations clerk on £2,500 a year, which was double what I was previously making at NatWest in Chelmsford. I was on a salary of about £1,200 a year in 1976-77. All part of the Finsbury Circus buildings. Funny thing was about that building, Anthony Gibson Sons, I think they'd lost a lot of money, so they'd had to come out of their own place, which was in, I think, 22 Bishopsgate. The family home had to be sold because they lost a lot of money, so they moved into this building, rented it. It had an old style cage-like lift, and it was one man's job just to operate the lift. That was his job as a lift operator. And it was one of those old style cage lifts. And when he wasn't busy, he'd just sit in the basement in his lift like an animal in a cage in a zoo. Strange jobs people had then. A bit like on the Northern Line, they used to have door operators in the rear carriage up until the 80s. What a non-job that was. Now we're in the first week of September, the 8th of September, or second week of September, and really London's just coming back to life now. You're in Finsbury Circus. This was all dug up for many years while Crossrail were building, but they've patched it up now, which is good. You may notice Finsbury Circus was used in a McDonald's ad recently. Anyway, they've patched it up, the bandstand's back here, and it's busy now, like it should be. This is really the first week that the city's got busy again. Finsbury Circus is busy with people having lunch, which is good. That's how it should be. So it's one of the hottest days of the year. My watch tells me it's 27 degrees.
I know.
Probably won't be so hot tomorrow. We'll come out onto London Wall. Part of Salisbury House here. I think it's Bath stone it's made of. It's very lovely. Busy now. Okay, we're in London Wall. This was a Pizza Hut, but previous to that, this used to be a bank of mine, NatWest Finsbury Circus branch. And latterly it was a Pizza Hut, and now it's empty. In the days when you had to have your branch close to where you lived or worked, so you could go and cash a cheque without paying a fee. This was NatWest Finsbury Circus, part of Salisbury House. Now it's empty. So the city's suddenly come a lot busier this week, which is how it should be. People back in the office, except civil servants, of course. Okay, we're in London Wall with the junction of Moorgates. Very busy here. People having drinks at the Globe pub. Standing outside, 27 degrees. Not that clever really, but there you go. We can cross it.
Yeah, they're not that far.
Right, so we're turning into London, into Moorgate, towards the Bank of England. Some of these are brand new buildings on the right hand side. Generally what they do in the city is keep the frontage of a building and then gut out the insides. So the front looks the same, but the inside is completely different.
I also quite like the fact that she said straight away, "But I can't see you just okay." I'm in photos so you can like look at me and just on.
So walking along Moorgates, EC2, towards the Bank of England. Right, okay, the reason I'm doing this today is I have a new toy, a new gimbal for my iPhone. I had a gimbal for the camera I used, but it was so awkward I got fed up with it. So I bought a gimbal for the iPhone, which just seems to be much easier to use. And just have a magnetic clip-on, so I hope no one nicks the phone because it's only held onto the gimbal by a magnet. I hope no one comes along and swipes the phone. So I've got myself a gimbal for my iPhone, so it's easier for me to go live. So I'm just really testing it today. I hope you're not too bored by this broadcast. Alright, this building on the right hand side, which is number 1 Moorgate, number 1 to 5 Moorgate, Arab Banking Corporation House. I did work here in the mid-80s when it was Arab Banking Corporation. Had great views over, if you wanted to watch the Lord Mayor's show, great views of the Lord Mayor's show in November. I worked here for a couple of years in the mid-80s. course, it's right next to the Bank of England as well. Banks have traditionally liked to congregate around the Bank of England, just in case the governor wants them over for lunch. Well, here we have the Bank of England. Can I tilt it up?
And I was like, do I have much of a choice in this? And he goes, no.
Difficult to see the Bank of England in its prime. I was up on that building in Fenchurch Street. What's it called? The walkie-talkie building. It's not an official name, the walkie-talkie building. I was up there and it had great views over the Bank of England and over the city generally. But you could see the Bank of England without just being blocked by these walls. Okay. Across into Gresham Street. We look down Princes Street towards the Bank Junction. I'm going to go around Old Jewry just for old time's sake. So that's Arab Banking Corporation House. I worked in there somewhere, I can't remember where. First floor or third floor, I can't remember. So this is the end of Lothbury, and then Gresham Street continues into Gresham Street. We're going to turn into Old Jewry. Old Jewry, which runs up to Poultry. I'm sure the City of London Police used to have a police station here. It's obviously gone now. There used to be a police station in Old Jewry. It's now gone. Of course, as you know, the City of London Police is separate to the Metropolitan Police. The City of London is an entity on its own, separate from the rest of London. We're in a little street called Frederick's Place. There would be a van turning, wouldn't there? I worked here for a while in the early 80s for Anthony Gibbs and Sons. I think they made back a bit of money and they moved from that place in Bloomfield Street to here in Frederick's Place. Nicer place to work. The entrance, number 1 for Frederick's Place. I worked in here in the early 80s. Someone else turning around. Anthony Gibbs and Sons was an old merchant bank. He got swallowed up by HSBC before they bought the Midland Bank. And it disappeared. They changed the name several times and it disappeared. I always wondered with Anthony Gibbs and Sons. I believe the original Anthony Gibbs made his money out of guano in South America. Now, I'm probably completely wrong on this, but in the book of Dr. No, one of the first James Bond books, Dr. No made his money from guano, I believe, in the book, not the film, in the book. He made his money from guano. And I wondered whether Ian Fleming got the idea from Anthony Gibbs, who I believe made his money from guano before he set up the bank. Because Ian Fleming was part of the Robert Fleming banking family. That's a complete guess on my part. It's probably completely wrong. But anyway, it just takes me back about 40 years. I used to work here in Frederick's place. Used to be a pub underground there. You used to have to go downstairs to the pub though. Alright, at the end of Old Jewry, we go into Poultry, which is the end of Cheapside. Cheapside becomes Poultry for historical reasons. Poultry leads up to the Bank Junction. Excuse me if I'm not using this gimbal very well. First time I've used it properly. There's a hotel here called the Ned. See the sign for it in a minute. Okay, it's a hotel called the Ned. Now it's in the premises that was Midland Bank. And it had two entrances, one on Poultry and one on Princess Street. So we used to call it Midland P&P. Poultry and Princess Street. So we used to call it Midland P&P. Okay, don't worry about it. Sorry. Okay, we used to call it Midland P&P. Poultry and Princess Street. Now it's a hotel called the Ned. And in there, there's a bar, I believe. You can go in this bar. Because the original vault of the bank, the door to the vault was used in the film Goldfinger. You probably know this anyway. So the door to the vault was used in the film Goldfinger, and they've kept it, and it's a feature of the bar in this hotel. So if you want to go to the bar in the Ned in Poultry or Princess Street, you can see one of the locations of Goldfinger. It was just used for the entrance to the vault at Fort Knox. Here we are at Bank Junction, of course. Got the Royal Exchange there, Bank of England. The Lord Mayor's Mansion House. That's the Lord Mayor of the City of London, not Sadiq Khan. Lord Mayor of the City of London, Mansion House, his official residence. Okay. Got this enormous building going up, Tower 22, which I think is at 22 Bishopsgate, where Anthony Gibbs, I think, used to have their family home. They became ennobled as Lord Aldenham.
Their position was
Still getting used to this gimbal, I'm sorry. Right, we'll go back up Cheapside. this is a really ugly building here at the corner of Queen Victoria Street and Poultry. It was the Mappin and Webb building. It used to be a nice Mappin and Webb building, but it got knocked down and converted into this monstrosity. Of course, in the City of London, there's all the old streets. They have to be maintained. They can't block them up. So when a new building goes up, they have to keep the old streets as rights of way. For instance, this place, Bucklersbury Passage. This has to be maintained as a right of way. All the little streets in the city, they're always there. They're never blocked up. Now, this is another blast from the past, because in this used to be a pub called the Green Man, which was a dealer's pub. We used to come here in the 80s, come out of Frederick's place, 5 o'clock, come straight down here, start drinking, meet up with dealers from other banks. That's where I used to network in the 80s, meet down the pub. Here you can see, I think they kept the clock from the Mappin and Webb building. That's all that's left of it. The Wetherspoons did have a pub here for a while. Once they built this building, Wetherspoons put a pub here and called it the Green Man. But now even that's gone. I used to stand here watching the traffic, drinking large amounts of beer. I remember once I was stood here with some dealers. A guy got knocked down by a car just here in Queen Victoria Street. Australian dealer turned around and said, "That's what you get for buying sterling." Okay, we'll go back into Bucklersbury and then out into Cheapside. Still can't get used to this gimbal. Right, I don't know when the battery's going to run out on either the phone and or the gimbal. We'll see. Okay, so we moved from Poultry into Cheapside. I think it's called Poultry because there used to be a market for poultry here in the ye olden days. Of course, the shops in the city have gone so upmarket since when I worked there. In Cheapside, there used to be a Woolworths, I remember. You wouldn't get anything so darn market now. We're in Cheapside walking towards St Paul's. One of the main differences between the city in the 80s and the city now is that then all men wore suits. All wear two-piece suits. Now it's not the case at all. Or a two-piece suit, plain shirt, black shoes. remember a colleague of mine, he was wearing a striped shirt and got sent home because he's wearing a striped shirt.
Standing.
Okay, this is St Mary Le Bow Church in Cheapside. No, I've never been in here. Keep quiet. And there's a service going on. Okay, this is St Mary Le Bow Church, which is most famous for being a Cockney if you're born within the sound of the bells of Bow Church. As in Bow Bells. Born within the sound of Bow Bells, then you're a true Cockney. We're walking along Cheapside towards St Paul's. It's just partly pedestrianised now, which is obviously a good thing. It's nice and busy now in the city. Let's have a look. You can see this. There's even a queue there for Lyon. It's all coming back to life. Very good.
I remember I went, so
Very good. Okay, this is a junction of Cheapside and New Change. And we'll walk across into Paternoster Square. Tell you what, we'll go through St Paul's Churchyard. Plenty of people in the churchyard having lunch, which is good. I think the weather may turn bad tomorrow, so they better make the most of it. They've created a disabled entrance here. Looks like a maze. Right, let's go around into Paternoster Square. St Paul's. Okay. Still in St Paul's Churchyard. We'll walk into Paternoster Square, which is rebuilt. It was had disastrous buildings in it, built in the 50s or 60s after World War II, and then they were pulled down and rebuilt again. So that's a lot better than it used to be, unlike the Wapping and Webb building. I'll have a look in a minute. Of course, at the entrance you've got this gate. Temple Bar. This used to be somewhere like in Fleet Street, at the gate to the City of London. It was taken down and then it was stored away in Cheshunt for many years. The Paternoster Square was rebuilt in the 90s possibly, after the ugly buildings of the 50s and 60s were torn down. It's a lot better than it used to be. And here you have Temple Bar. Which was one of the entrances to the City of London. It was taken down. I think it was causing an obstruction, basically. Where was it stored? Somewhere in Cheshunt. Theobald's Park or something like that. And that's been put back here, which is a good thing. Temple Bar. Used to be in Fleet Street, somewhere like that. We'll move into Ludgate Hill. St Paul's Cathedral. People actually sitting on the steps. Actually getting quite busy again. Move into Ludgate Hill. Ludgate Hill going down towards Ludgate Circus. Here we are at the old junction to the Old Bailey. This is the Old Bailey. It's the name of the street. See there? The street is called Old Bailey. Central Criminal Court is nicknamed Old Bailey. Its correct name is Central Criminal Court. It's where murderers get tried, as opposed to the civil courts in the Strand. Must be a railway bridge. I still can't get used to this gimbal, I'm sorry. Used to be a railway bridge in Ludgate Hill, for the railway that went through to Holborn Viaduct, but now the railway goes underneath. The Thameslink station railway goes underneath, which is why it's a bit of a hump in the road where the railway goes under as opposed to over. There's a bit of a hump in the road here because the railway goes underneath. This hump didn't used to be here. They've got City Thames Link station with the railway underneath. Just got to adjust my watch. My watch is playing up. Okay, here we are at Ludgate Circus. So at the bottom of Ludgate Hill, you have Ludgate Circus leading into Fenchurch Street. You've got Farringdon Street to the right. Farringdon Street, and behind me, Ludgate Hill. Ahead is Fleet Street. To the left, not quite sure. The road leads down to Blackfriars Bridge anyway. We're crossing Ludgate Circus into Fleet Street. Look along Farringdon Street, you can see Holborn Viaduct in the distance. Ludgate Hill towards Blackfriars Bridge, and we'll go up Fleet Street. Fleet Street is synonymous with national newspapers. None of them are here now, but still use the term Fleet Street. This black building here, that was the Telegraph building. I'll cross the road so we get a better look. Oh, sorry, this is the Express building. This black building here was the Express building. Sorry, let's cross the road. See it better now. Okay, this building was the Daily Express. Still says Express on there. That's a useful clue for me. For idiots like me, it says Express. And then the building with the clock on it. Oops. That was the Telegraph. Telegraph's building there. I'll say long gone. I mean, I don't know. No, the Express used to be south of the river. I'm not sure whether it's still there now. I don't know where the Telegraph went. The St Bride's Church off Fleet Street. Can you get a picture of the spire? Hello, don't worry about it. Okay, you can see the spire of St Bride's Church. Famous, supposedly, don't blame me if I'm wrong, supposedly this is the basis for the tiered wedding cake. The idea for a tiered wedding cake came from this spire. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. Maybe I just made it up. Lovely place. Okay, we'll come back onto Fleet Street. Have the Telegraph building. What was the Telegraph building? Anyone who's watching who's sending messages, thank you very much. I'm sorry I can't reply because my hands are tied. But thanks very much for watching. Just really a practice run with my new toy, this gimbal I bought to go with my iPhone. It's so much easier to use than the gimbal I got with the camera.
Yeah, no, I don't think right here. Someone gave me a tip.
walking along Fleet Street. At some point it becomes the Strand. Can we go into the temple? Let's have a look in here actually. There's a couple of places I want to go, but we'll have a look in here. Have a look in one of the old Inns of Court. See if we can get in. The Inns of Court in the sort of WC1, EC4 area are where barristers have their offices. Not solicitors, but barristers. Because it's really centred around the Royal Courts of Justice on the Strand. So it's within easy walking distance. So you have these various Inns of Court where the barristers have their offices. Here's an example. I hope I can get around here. I don't really know where I'm going.
Yeah.
These Inns of Court are generally known as Temple. The other big ones are Lincoln's Inn, around Lincoln's Inn Fields, or WC1. Let's have a look. It's got a nice courtyard here. I wonder which way you get out.
Yours is so much better than mine.
I hope I can get out this way. Looks like I can get out. Okay, so that was one of the Inns of Court known as Temple, where barristers have their offices.
I actually like.
This part of London is busier than it used to be at the weekend. It's more commercial. Of course, it used to be very Monday to Friday with all the barristers here and all the banks and everything. It used to be very Monday to Friday operation, very quiet at the weekend. Now it's more commercial. The City of London used to be completely dead on a Saturday, slightly busier on a Sunday due to Petticoat Lane Market. But on a Saturday it was a ghost town. Now there's lots of pubs and whatever that are open on a Saturday and Sunday in the City of London. That never used to happen. So there you have the Royal Courts of Justice on the Strand, which is why the Inns of Court are located here. The barristers have their offices in the Inns of Court so they can be close to the Royal Courts of Justice. And fairly close to the Old Bailey as well, of course. Just walking back towards Fleet Street, I just wanted to have a look at a building here. We've come in a sort of circle. See there, a dragon marking the entrance to the City of London. This is where that Temple Bar would have been, somewhere around here. Charles, is this where C. Hoare & Co. was? A bit further. 37. All right, thanks, mate. Thanks very much. The wrong building. Thanks very much. All right, I just took the wrong building. Walking back along Fleet Street. Just wanted to have a look at the building and then we'll go back towards Charing Cross. Oops, sorry. Oh, this is the building on the right-hand side. I think it's made of Bath stone, a bit like Salisbury House in Finsbury Circus. Whoa, there we go. The gentleman is exactly right, of course. Number 37 Fleet Street, Messrs. Hoare & Co. Bankers. Now this is an old bank, a very exclusive bank, far more exclusive than, say, your Coutts, which is a subsidiary of NatWest. Very exclusive bank, this. I've only ever met one person who had an account here. It's not even a limited company. Not even a limited company. Originally owned by the Hoare family. I believe they used to own Stour Head is it in Wiltshire, where the River Stour starts, the River Stour that flows through Dorset into Christchurch. I went there once, and now it's owned by the National Trust. And I believe the Hoare family used to live in that building. I have a memory of it once because going back to the 1980s again, I came here once to play table tennis in the London Manx Table Tennis League in the early 80s when I was working at Anthony Gibbs. Had fantastic interior, panelled walls. Beautiful place. So it's Messrs. Hoare & Co., 37 Fleet Street, a very exclusive bank. Looks like it's made of Bath stone instead of the ubiquitous Portland stone everything else is made of. Okay, so we're walking back westbound along Fleet Street, I think. One of the entrances to Temple. I don't know whether Hoare & Co is a limited company now, but at the time, in the 80s, it was still just a firm, not a company. A bit like P&O used to be. I don't know whether P&O still is, but that used to be a mutual as well. Very risky business. All right, mate, thanks very much. Thanks. We're going back, we can see the Royal Courts of Justice on the right-hand side. This is where all the civil cases are held, you know, your divorces and things like libel cases, things like the Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard case, things like that. People wasting huge amounts of money. Okay, walking on the Strand, and Strand is bisected by St Clement Danes Church, the RAF Church, which we had a look at a couple of weeks ago when I did that live broadcast. Just want to have a look, see where the traffic's going here now. Across the road. There is still traffic coming along the other side. I thought this was going to be... Looks like it's buses and taxis only on this section now. There's a statue of Samuel Johnson. He's cleaning up. He's got a lot of bird shit on his head. You've got the Royal Courts of Justice. Very nice. And then these bollards here, which are actually anti-terror bollards. They look like nice seats or something, but they're actually to stop people driving onto the pavement. So I imagine it's just buses and taxis coming down this section eastbound now. All other traffic has to go the other side of the church. Still a lot of work to be done tidying this place up, making it pedestrianised. St Clement Danes Church, Church of the RAF. We were here a few weeks ago. Coming up to 2 o'clock. really want to go in. Okay. Oh, God, sorry. Oranges and lemons say the bells of St. Clement's. There's still a lot of work to be done here. Still got Bomber Harris and Lord Hague boxed in. Across it. Oh, we can cross. Right. We're just crossing the Old Witch into the Strand. Okay, we were here a couple of weeks ago. This is a part of the Strand that's basically now buses and taxis only, or access only. And this part beyond Surrey Street and Melbourne Place should be largely pedestrianised. Obviously they've got a lot of work to do. I don't know how it's going to come out. Always find it's a bit dingy here. This section of the Strand always very dark, overshadowed by this King's College London building. Always in the shadows. I don't know what they're going to do about that. Just this section here between King's College and St Mary Le Strand. Always very dark here, never any sunshine. It's Dina Asher Smith. I'm going to marry her when I grow up.
Can we go to the office real quick? Okay. Give it in. Bye.
Alright, saying 28 degrees now, one of the hottest days of the year.
Sign the contract.
I've already put some seats out here. In front of the church. Looks like they've got a skateboard park. Just going to the grounds of Somerset House. Somerset House.
I'll send you a picture.
There seems to be a lot of what they might call extra things done, and we're waiting through a list. Some of which are quite easy.
Come out onto Lancaster Place near Waterloo Bridge. We're coming out of Somerset House onto Lancaster Place, which leads up to Waterloo Bridge. See Waterloo Bridge in the distance. Back in the Strand, leading towards Trafalgar Square and Charing Cross Station. Simpson's restaurant, which is part of the Savoy Hotel. Okay, here's the entrance to the Savoy Hotel. A lot of people queuing up here. Must be for the theatre. Sorry, I forgot the Savoy Theatre. Entrance to Savoy Hotel. Very nice. And then people queuing up for the theatre, I think. Is there a matinee performance? What's people queuing up for?
I'm quite glad.
That's why.
Alright, there's people queuing up at the other theatres too, the Vaudeville here. Must be matinee performances. In the Adelphi Theatre. It's Trafalgar Square, and I think I'll finish it there because I'm quite tired now. We're going about an hour and a half.
Now.
So we're still walking along the Strand westbound towards Trafalgar Square. We're coming up against Charing Cross Station in a minute. Nothing particularly